What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're here with Jane. Jane, what is your role here at Pattern?
So I'm an art director at Pattern on our creative team. And so we help make creative assets for our partners.
I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you guys do things at Pattern now in the creative department.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've been playing with PickFu a little bit and how that's been going for you.
Yeah. So Patterns, like everything we do is data backed. And so we try to apply that with our creative as well. I think a lot of people there's like a misconception with creative that we're just kind of like, if it looks nice, it's going to sell, which I mean, we want it to look nice, but we really try to make
A lot of people think that. A lot of people in the agency space for Amazon or the freelancers, they think like, hey, it looks nice, but it's going to perform.
Right. It's like, it might look nice, but are you talking to the right audience?
Yeah.
Like, are you meeting the right goals with it? And so that's really what our team tries to do. Like, we do a lot of research into our product and our partners' product, go through the reviews, try to figure out, like, what are we missing here and what we're communicating with our current image stack, which is like the, tiles that you see when you're shopping.
They know.
You guys know.
They know.
Yeah. So we go through and just kind of audit everything. Like, okay, let's look at your A+ content, look at your storefront, see where the holes are in the shopping experience, and like how can we, supplement that with our design.
How do you guys validate that stuff now, right? So I just had a conversation with someone, and they said, not a Pattern brand or not a Pattern person, someone else that's here, and they said, I gave them some opinions or advice on the product. They said, I love it. The owner is also the creative director.
It's hard, yeah.
So they prefer what they like, right? Whether the audience is going to resonate with it or not.
Right.
So where do you guys find that that's a friction point, and how do PickFu kind of help with that?
Yeah, because like a lot of time we rely on just like showing like, hey, these are what your reviews are saying, and like you can see your returns are because we're not showing like the size of this product well enough. Like it's easy in that way to show like this is a data point that we could have on your stack and fix that problem. But with PickFu, it's like we are able to show a concept versus like maybe their current stack and have data that shows like people prefer this, and then there's comments from the people who were surveyed saying like, I specifically like this thing about it, and it helps show like where the holes are and gives you data to back your decision.
And it's cool because just like you said, like what you currently have versus the next iteration of it, sometimes you think the next iteration is going to do better, but it might not.
Totally.
And that's just confirming that you already have something that's really good.
Right.
And I think that that's super interesting too, because a lot of people in the space too, in the agency space and the Amazon space, premium A+ content. You know about that?
Yeah.
It's a big talk of the town right now with a lot of creative agencies,
right.
And they're like, "Oh, premium A+ is the way to go. Premium A+ is the way to go." But often I see it not executed properly.
Right.
Like, what are your thoughts on I know it's depending on the certain brand if they actually get approved for the premium A+ or not, but what are you seeing with like Pattern and brands with premium A+ versus standard?
We do see that brands with premium A+ do better, like they perform better, and it's kind of like you said, it's really making sure that you're using the right modules too, because it's like you can put all the flashy, whatever in premium A+, and it's not going to do anything if you're not using it to give the right information. But we do find in general, if you're using premium A+, the products do better.
Yeah. And then where does like the creative stop at Pattern? Where, all right, let's say it's premium A+, and your brand wants to, or your client wants to have embedded video inside of that. Do you go to the extent of actually creating video too for them, or no?
It depends. So sometimes a lot of brands will have video available, and so we'll use that. We also, our creative team is able to like take existing assets and maybe splice, like add, just like cater and,
like almost like I hate saying this word, but like slideshow videos. Sometimes if someone doesn't have a video and they don't have the means to actually film it, if you just take some animation and creative assets, just to have a video there, it helps.
Right? Yeah, having a video at all, it helps. And I think like even if we don't have like amazing like footage, it's like you can do stuff with graphics and just information. It's just helpful. They perform better with video for sure.
And then are you finding also like how many iterations do you see that you typically go through with a brand before it's like it sticks, right? Is it like, and do you get a lot of pushback from I know that the brand owner, but well, I don't know. Let me step back.
Sure.
Who has the final say with the creative? Is it the brand owner?
Really depends.
Okay.
It depends on the brand you're working with. Like some teams, it's like it will go straight to like the CEO and they're helping make the decisions. Sometimes they'll have someone who's just designated like a point of contact for us who's making those decisions.
Yeah.
So it really depends. And it also depends on like the iterations. Like sometimes we'll go through many iterations to find the right, like where we land. But sometimes it's like we show them a concept. They're like, great, run with it. Like go for it. Yeah. So it really depends.
I think it's cool that PickFu can help cut that noise down a lot.
For sure.
Right. So if you have this or that, as opposed to saying, let's come up with number 3, number 4, number 5, and put them against each other and scratch our heads and think about it. Right. Take the work that you've already done,
right, and
get the data on it. Because you had mentioned before, looking at reviews and taking those data points out of reviews to fix the image stack and fix the images. The way I think when I hear that, it's like it's too late. It's not too late, but it's already you're getting data points by losing money and losing rank and reviews and stuff like that. So with PickFu, you can get all those data points.
Yeah.
Without losing
get a leg up before,
Yeah. So do you typically go through like negative reviews or not so great reviews when a brand has it and say, oh, okay, well, they didn't like that, or they didn't understand that this was, I don't know, had vitamin C in it, it wasn't clear about it. Did you maybe go back and edit the image stack to emphasize the vitamin C?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, for example, we've had a brand where it's like, the review was frequently like, this is not the size I expected. It's smaller than I expected. So we know like, oh, that cues us. We need an image that says like measurements, maybe even like a reference, like some other object in it to have a size reference. Like it cues us that that's the information that's missing from the stack to limit returns.
So I always tell people there's a lot in the Amazon space. They say banana for scale. So they say, have you seen that before? Is it banana for scale?
Yeah.
And a lot of people in jewelry, again, you're not going to give me any brands, obviously we don't disclose that, but you work with any jewelry brands?
We do, yeah.
So with jewelry, I find a lot of, it kills me inside when I see them do this, is when they'll do the sizing aspect ratio for like reference. They'll put a penny next to the coin, next to the jewelry.
Totally.
What's a penny? If you saw a penny on the floor, would you stop and pick it up?
No. Unless I want a good look.
If you saw a quarter on the floor,
right,
you're probably going to pick it up a little because it's a quarter, right? So I always tell people, for me, best practice is don't align yourself with something that's useless or worthless, right? Show the quarter, because the quarter is standard and stuff like that. So yeah, like, do you guys typically do like, I'm always interested when I talk to someone like creative and stuff like that, like how do you define in your team and other teams like best practices, right? Do you have like in-house SOPs that say, okay, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do, this is pushing the line a little bit, or is it templatized where we say, okay, like lifestyle images, we can go a little bit more crazy with them to make sure that we have a little bit more freedom with it versus like the main hero image to keep with compliance? Like what's typical kind of like guidelines that you guys use when like redoing images and stuff?
Yeah, it kind of depends on like the product category, what like type of images we know are necessary. So I mean that plays into it for sure. And then like because we work with so many brands, it's like we're kind of getting this collective like understanding of what needs to go in each stack.
So what do you think of it? Like what do you think of? Have you actually ran the poll yourself, or were you just?
Yeah, I was running the polls. I was coming up with the questions. I was coming up with the design. Yeah, it was.
So what did you think of? How easy was it to use?
It was super easy to use. I really appreciated that it was my first time running a poll like that, so I appreciated that there was like pre-populated sample questions, like, hey, this is a good way to word it.
If you were buying this on Amazon, would you click this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was really helpful. It helped kind of guide like the way I was wording my questions. So I really liked that. Yeah, and I was really impressed with like the amount of demographic options that there were. That was really helpful.
Did you drill down, or you kind of went broad and just?
We kept it.
Just Amazon subscriber.
Prime subscriber? That was it. We were really happy to see that, just because like Pattern is so Amazon heavy. Being able to see like an Amazon Prime, like have that be part of the demographic.
Because who cares about the responses for someone that doesn't shop on Amazon?
Right.
If it's an Amazon product, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But did we have like 90 traits you can drill down? So if we're talking about pet products, I was talking to someone outside about pet products. we can drill down to pet owners. We can drill down to dog owners or cat owners. Because if you're a cat owner and it's a dog product, we don't really care what they have to say for your feedback. Because they're going to give you random feedback that's not going to be relevant. Right. So, you know, down to ethnicity, down to college level, income level, what you do on the weekends. Are you a drinker or smoker? Like literally 90 plus traits, right? The more you drill down, the smaller the pool gets, right? So time-wise, it takes maybe... How quick were the polls? I mean, usually like 15 minutes.
Yeah, so we... ours took an hour and a half. For all of them, we're running about 100 people for all of them.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So...
And we only had... We didn't do demographic. We didn't narrow by demographic, but we did ask, like, to... fill out what
that comes as a standard, right? So you're able to it comes
so we
at the
added
bottom.
2 additional traits, like if you could answer, you know, which demographics.
So, because it's good feedback to see, right? Because
it's so helpful.
You'll see down the list and it'll say, oh, it seems like women care about this feature, but guys don't care about this feature. Who's my ICP and avatar for the brand? Oh, it's women, so let's cater to what they need to fix the image.
And it was, like with some of the brands that we were testing too, it's like we know what their demographic is, so it's like I am more interested to see what their response is, like what that demographic's response to this, you know, concept is. So it was really nice to have that information and actually seeing all the ways that you could narrow the demographic actually ended up influencing the types of questions. I was like, oh, I could ask this because I actually will be able to get this data from this test.
And you were doing just like head-to-head ranked? Like
we did both. So we had a few head-to-head. We started with an overall ranked just to like test an overall image stack versus another. But then as we started getting kind of more general results about the image stack, we started going like image by image. Like, do you prefer this over this?
Because a lot of people think that, I don't want to say a lot of people, but most people, I don't want to say most people, like certain people.
Some people,
right? Some folks think it's just a one and done A/B test. It's not.
No.
Because you have to really high level and go down that funnel and start to compare. But did you know, you probably didn't check it out yet, you could do click tests and heat map tests.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about A+ content.
Yes, I'm hoping we'll get into that.
Yeah, we load a whole A+ of the original versus the next ideation or creation of it or iteration, and you know, see where people click, and we noticed people didn't go by or maybe you're doing standard A+ versus premium,
right?
And we noticed people didn't go to click on the carousel. Carousel's not important to them, or maybe they didn't go and click on the video, right? They do that. We could also do, like, you could even put in not even assets, right? You could put an Amazon link to a competitor, and you could say, what do you like about these products?
Right.
And you could provide that to the brand and say, listen, these are all the things that are important to your competition. Are we highlighting those on yours? And if we're not, what do we need to do? A lot of cool stuff too, and you can even do videos. You can upload videos as well as not just still photos. So if they have like UGC content or any kind of video that's created or a slideshow kind of animation that's created, does this resonate with you? Would you click on this ad? I mean, that's another thing too. Like, we didn't even get into that, right? So like, you're creative for the brands, are you also doing the creative for the ads?
We do, some of that,
Yeah, so that's the other thing too, right? So, you know, would you click on this display ad or this display ad? Would you click on this brand ad or this brand ad? And now, not only we're talking about the organic, right? We're talking about, of course, the co-founder has to message me while we're recording now. But we're talking about their ad spend that's in play. So it's a big kind of pivoting point where if you're spending, you guys have big brands, if you're spending 25, 30, 40, 50, 100K a month on ad spend, the ad asset is not compelling and no one's clicking on it, or if they're clicking on it thinking it's something else and not converting, your ACOS goes up, your tacos go up. I know that's Amazon jargon.
The tacos?
I lost you on tacos?
You did lose me on tacos.
Okay. So tacos is total advertised cost of sale. ACOS is advertised cost of sale.
Okay.
So the most important thing is tacos, because ACOS is ad spend divided by ad sales. Tacos is total ad spend divided by total sales. So it's looking at the whole picture.
I'm excited to keep using PickFu because I feel like we kind of scratched the surface of what it's able to do. Like I was mostly just doing like ranked and head-to-head testing with it.
There's so much more.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it because it's like I just feel like there's so many uses that you guys are offering that it's information that I want, and it's so dang fast, which I love, and it's really helpful. Like this is the type of data that I'd collect by myself, and it's like, it's just nice to have it compiled so quickly, and from like, instead of me like having to go search reviews and like suss out like what people are thinking about it. It's
very manual. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. I could just ask directly to these people like, what do you think of this, instead of me having to ask about a review. And like you said, it's like, it's not after the fact, it's before. Yeah, and so I'm excited about how we can use it more.
And I'm sure that like the CRO and the CO of Pattern likes that you're not spending your time sitting out there and trying to sift through reviews and find the data when it's just given to you.
Right.
Because that's more time that you and your team can work on the creative and pumping out great assets versus, trying to find what's wrong with it and pivot and do that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So that's really cool. And then also, like, how does it typically work with you guys when you get a tool that's like really cool and awesome, like PickFu, wink.
Yeah.
Like, how does it roll out to you guys? Like, you play with it first, then a couple other people play with it, and then you start to see the results, and then, like, how does that typically work?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Right now, I'm playing with it. I know I showed our other art directors what I had researched and what I found, and I know
were they jealous and wanted to?
They really were. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to know more about it." And so
it just helps validate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, we are creatives, but like, we're also like, designers are just kind of like, we are a little bit of like data nerds. Like, we like to know, like, there's a reason for what we're doing.
Yeah.
So having a tool like PickFu is really, really compelling to all of the creatives on our team. So we're all really excited about it.
That's awesome. And thanks for speaking with me today. This is super fun.
This was fun.
I love talking with people about creative. Even though I lean more into the side of like tactical kind of stuff with the main hero image. It's just either way that you're doing it, if you're being super tactical with like pushing the limits and boundaries, or when you're just looking to validate the creative work that you're doing, that's what PickFu. It's not just Amazon.
Totally.
It's Walmart creative. It's the guy out there that's looking to start a business and is not sure about what logo he wants. You could just do an A/B test of a logo.
Right.
I was talking to someone the other day. I said, "What's your favorite beer?" He said, "Bud Light." I said, "I like Miller Lite." Oh, let's pick for it and see what other people our age think.
Yeah.
Surely I feel it right. But who likes drinking water? Bud Light. But it's just a go-to for everything. I'm waiting for my wife to kind of bring up an argument where I can say, "You know what?
Yeah.
I think this, you think this. Let's pick for it."
Totally. Well, and the other cool thing is interesting that you said like validating our opinion. One thing that I found really interesting about it is like the concept that I thought was best, like just my opinion, was not what PickFu showed us was like the right way to go. Like our feedback was showing like that's not the answer. And so it's nice to kind of be challenged by the data you're getting. It's like, and it makes me more confident showing partners like, hey, like, not only was like this concept, like we've checked our own work, and we're not just saying this, like, it's no ego in it. It's like, this is purely what the data is saying, and we are going with it.
And I think I'm dating myself, how old I am when I say this, but do you remember like car commercials about Carfax?
Yeah.
Do you remember that Fox would pop up? Show me the Carfax. So I'm telling people, show me the PickFu.
Yeah.
Show me the PickFu. And then when you show people the data, there's no argument there.
No.
And it also, in a way, if a brand's saying, "Oh, I need to revamp my creative, I need to revamp and do this," they might not need to.
Yeah, it can validate. Like, yeah, you're right. You don't need to.
You don't need to, and then that saves them time and money. That saves you time and money. That saves everyone, because we're not going to have to sit here and iterate over and over again to find out the proper thing. We already have the best thing that's out there. Right now.
Well, and it builds trust too. It's like, I am not going to tell you to do something that is not going to be beneficial to you. It's like, we have the data, and it shows like, yeah, maybe what you currently had was better,
And a lot of creative agencies, third parties, VAs, don't think like that.
Yeah.
And they need to, because what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, you want me to redo your A+? Bing, 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 bing. Here's an A+. or is it the best A+? It's a different A+.
Right.
It looks nicer than yours, but is it going to generate
different doesn't necessarily mean it's better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Okay, listen, thanks so much for chatting with
thank you.
me. I'm so excited. Are you?
Okay.
Do you have the in because you work at Pattern
Do I have the in?
at the event? Like, do you have like the secret access and stuff like
I
that?
wish, but no, I do not.
My wife told me I can't come home until I get a autographed picture with Jessica Simpson.
Oh my gosh. Well, if I see her, I'll try to grab. But no, I don't have.
Tell her that I will do a no-cost
Okay.
A/B split test on her next album class.
Okay.
That'd be really cool, right? That
really
actually
would be
works.
cool.
It wouldn't. It's never gonna happen.
Right. But that would be awesome.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it.